Thanks for tuning in. Today I want to share my Rolex timepieces. I have been getting some questions about the Rolex timepieces that I have, and it's also been a while since I got my first watch. So I thought it would be a good time to do a bit of an update and share some of my thoughts on the different timepieces that I have. Full disclosure, all of these watches are not necessarily mine. A couple of them are, and a couple of them are actually my partner's / my husband's. But I have tried them on and I have worn them as well, even if they're not technically mine. So I have 4 Rolex timepieces now in our collective collection. And I'm gonna go in chronological order. I'll share the specs, I'll share my thoughts on the piece, some of the pros and cons, and try to do a quick mod shot of what it looks like on my wrist. This is the first Rolex timepiece that I had ever purchased. So this is a DateJust 36mm. It's in stainless steel. The reference number, for those of you that follow the reference numbers for watches, I think is 126200. It's a white dial with Roman numerals. It has a smooth bezel, and it is the oyster bracelet. I have worn it a ton since then. For the DateJust models, I don't actually know what the technical term is for this, but you just pull it from the top and it pulls down. I just wear it like this. It does have the micro adjustment control thingy. That also has a very formal name that I can't remember off the top of my mind. So it is very easy to adjust so that it fits really well on your wrist. It also helps for when your wrist might be a little bit swollen, a little bit bigger during like the warmer months. And so you can kind of adjust it so it's a little bit wider, and then you can shrink it back when it's cooler. This is what it looks like on my wrist. I have about a 7-inch wrist. I don't think it's quite 7 inches all the way, but typically when I look at bracelets or jewelry, I look for things that will fit a 7-inch wrist. So that's just for general reference. And for the shape of my wrist, I have more width, I would say, because I feel like this is what matters more to understand the size of the face, and that will determine whether you feel like the watch is too big or too small on your wrist. So proportion wise, I have more space kind of on the flat face of the wrist. So this is what the DateJust looks like on me. I really liked this model for the very clean white face. I prefer Roman numerals, just like in general. I also really liked that this had a smooth bezel and not a fluted bezel. I felt like this gave it a really clean, sleek look and something really easy to wear for daily. I have worn this a lot since I got it, and so there are some considerable signs of wear. The bracelet is the version that has the high polish stainless steel links in the middle, if you'll see. So there's like the high shine portion, and that does get quite a bit of scratches, honestly. There's no real way around it. And the part that will get the most wear is definitely the clasp at the bottom. I really like the look of this model, but as I mentioned in one of my more recent videos, I did notice through the DateJust model that I am really annoyed by the date function. If you are somebody who's going to be wearing your watch every single day, it's really less of a hassle. I used to be that person who was wearing my watch every day, especially since I was either commuting or going into some sort of an office setting pretty much daily. And that's how I was wearing my watch. But in recent years, I've been working from home a lot more. Which means I don't wear my watch every day, and then every time I want to wear it, not only do I have to kind of set the time, I also have to set the date. It's just an extra step that I find is a little cumbersome, so I know for like my next watch, I wanted one that didn't have a date function. I know there are watch winders. We do have watch winders. This watch does go in the watch winder, but just the fact that I have to have something else for it is kind of enough to just, I don't know, have me prefer one that doesn't have the date function. The other FYI on this piece is that I did actually have to get the movement replaced. I did that earlier this year. I had a feeling that the movement was just off. So I ran my own little experiments over a weekend to see whether the movement was keeping time accurately, and I found that it wasn't. So I actually brought it into a servicing center. Luckily, it was still under warranty, so all of that got taken care of. But that is an FYI, something for you to like look out for and just periodically check your timepieces, because apparently there can be movement failures and they will have to replace it. The next watch that was added to the collection is also a DateJust. This is a DateJust 41 millimeter. It's a stainless steel model. The reference is 126334 -0031. I think the 0031 indicates the specific dial that this has. So this has a blue fluted motif dial. It has indices, so no Roman numerals. So it also has a fluted bezel and an oyster bracelet. There are some models of this watch where it's a fluted bezel and the Jubilee bracelet, but this one's actually a pretty interesting combination of the fluted bezel and the oyster bracelet. We purchased this in November of 22. And this is my husband's like main watch, so there are some scratches on this as well. It has the same type of like high polish center oyster bracelet as my DateJust does. It is 41 millimeters. It opens the same way as my DateJust. So it is a little bit larger, but I want to put it on my wrist to show kind of what it looks like on my wrist. It doesn't necessarily look too large, I would say. The same thing for the 36. That's why I opted to go for that model versus going for a lady DateJust or like a ladies model. So I don't think it looks too big. I'm trying to, here, let me see if I can show you like this. Because sometimes when you twist your wrist, it just doesn't it doesn't lay the same. Don't feel like it's too big for my wrist, but it's definitely like a more substantial watch. Like it's bigger. It definitely is bigger than a 36. So if I were to find something for more everyday, I would probably stick to a 36 millimeter rather than a 41. It's nice to know that I can, you know, also wear the 41 if I feel like I want to. You know, I could just borrow my husband's watch for the day. This is a really nice blue color, and the fluted motif adds a nice kind of touch of flair without being too flashy. I find that really nice about this watch. It's a really, really good everyday watch, just like the DateJust name implies. My Rolex vocabulary is not that robust, but the next model that we added to the collection is our first, I think they call these professional models, sports watches. I don't know. It's the two-tone Bluesy Submariner date in 41 millimeters. I think this is 41 millimeters. Reference is 126613LB. It has a blue dial, a unidirectional bezel. It's two-tone, so it's yellow gold with stainless steel. Purchased this July of 23. It has light signs of wear on it because it is a sports watch or like a professional model. Instead of it just being the one clasp that you open, like you kind of pull down to open, this does have an extra flap. So you pull the flap up and then you push it down. That's how the professional models open up. On my wrist, this does have a more chunkier look overall. This watch definitely, I think, looks a little bit big for my wrist. I would really only wear this if I am, I don't know, I kind of want a more flashy look. Oftentimes I'll be wearing an outfit that's really simple and then I could just wear the watch. It's definitely a little bit more loud, I would say. To be honest, this was not a watch that was really on our radar. We felt like it might be a little too flashy, it might be a little bit too much. When we saw one that was just like the display model and we tried it on, we realized that it wasn't as loud as we had anticipated. Oh, this watch though is definitely heavier. It's heavier than the other DateJusts that we have. The case is a bit thicker as well, so I know that's where like a lot of the weight's coming from. It's rare. It's rare that I will wear this. I don't gravitate towards this a lot. It's more a watch that my husband wears, and he tends to enjoy wearing it more than I do. Oh, I don't know if you already knew this, but the direction that the crown sits when you fully twist it closed is kind of random. So they don't always point up when you look at them from the side, but this one does. We were lucky. This one does. My DateJust does, but the blue DateJust, it's like, it's a little crooked. It's like, it leans a little sideways. That's just my own OCD more than anything else. So, and the newest addition to our Rolex collection is this stainless steel no date Submariner. It's a 41 millimeter, reference number 124060. It has a black dial, unidirectional bezel, also an oyster perpetual bracelet. We purchased this June of this year, 2024. I love that it has no date. That was really one of the main attraction points for me for this model. But this bracelet, I don't know if you can tell just from this angle, but this one does not have the polished center links. Can you see the difference? This watch is like the same size case as the Bluesy Submariner, the two-tone Submariner, but I don't know if it's because of the color or because it's a full stainless steel model. I feel like this one looks smaller than the Bluesy on my wrist. I feel like this is a more manageable size for me and can work as a more everyday watch. Maybe on camera they end up kind of looking the same, but I feel like in terms of like actually wearing them on my wrist, the no date sub feels a bit smaller, feels a bit more compact. It also feels lighter than this watch. So of all the watches that we have, the Bluesy two-tone is definitely the heaviest. Yeah, they are the same size. And I feel like on camera they definitely look almost the same on my wrist. But just the feel just looks really clean, really simple. This is the newest edition, so honestly I don't have as much experience wearing this one as I do for all of the others. Definitely really like the look of this. It's really clean. I like the black color on this, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it being in the rotation. The crown on this one is also a little crooked. It's not facing up. That's everything for this video. Those are the Rolex timepieces and some of my quick thoughts on each one. I think just given the size and shape of my wrist, I opted to go for men's models. You may have noticed they're all technically men's watches. I don't have any ladies' watches in my collection. I think it's because the larger models look better on my wrist. And I do have a smaller Cartier Ballon Bleu already. That's 29 millimeters. So I had a timepiece that kind of took care of the smaller, dressier look. And I was looking for something that was a lot more of like a daily wear type timepiece. The benefit of these watches also means that my husband and I can wear them together. So even though it may technically be someone's watch, the other person can wear them too. So something else to consider. The next watch on my Rolex wish list specifically is a Yachtmaster with the rhodium dial. That's my ultimate goal watch. I know it has a date feature. I am aware. I'm willing to deal with the date for that watch, but that's pretty much it. The rest of them, I think I'll opt for no date features just because I find them easier to work with. But Yachtmaster is on my list. I'm putting it out on video to manifest. If you have any other specific questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll answer them there. I hope this helped clarify or at least give you an overview of the different timepieces that you could add to your wish list. So thanks for tuning in and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!